All right, I was reading some of the comments in the chat. I understand what you're saying, Thundercat, but every time I turn around, I'm always saying, "What the frick is going on here?" I can't even fathom that tyranny could be dang of them, and they're going to still say, "I support the tyrant." I can't even. I want to try to keep this short because I want you to share this with everybody you know. I don't care if you're a Trump supporter. I don't care if you're a liberal or a conservative, Democrat or Republican. I don't care. And you guys, if it makes you feel better, you can call me a old hippie or you're a libtard because you're not following Donald Trump. Listen, do we have a constitution or don't we? And I get it. I understand. The constitution is just a piece of paper. Basically, at this point, and for a long time, it's been toilet paper for a lot of people. Our constitution hasn't meant anything since, at least objectively speaking, historically speaking, 1913, when the Federal Reserve came online. In the spirit of Amschel Rothschild, he said, if I can have control over a nation's money, I don't give a damn who makes its laws. I don't care if they have a constitution. We got easy money, free money, unsound, dishonest money. Babe, can you get that? Can you get that toy from Dakota? My dog decided to go ahead and start doing the squeaky toy. Look. Here's the deal, guys. I know that we have a constitution, and so what I'm going by is what every single one of these public servants, whether you're a congressman or a senator, Democrat, Republican, whether you're a politician, president, vice president, speaker of the House, law enforcer, military, whatever, you took a freaking oath. And the oath you took to was to that piece of paper. So I'm going to hold you to it. And I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. It says what it says, and you said what you said. You put your hand in the Bible. You raised your hand to heaven. Nobody put a gun to your head, and you said, I will protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But what happens almost 100% of the time? They turn right around and become the very domestic enemies they swore to protect you and I from. And that is called tyranny. That's called despotism. That is called a betrayal and a dishonoring of your oath. Based on that, I don't care who we're about to read. It just so happens to be Donald Trump, but we could be reading Hillary Clinton. We could be reading a tweet from Barack Obama. We could be reading a tweet from Benjamin Franklin. I don't care who it is. Weigh what they said according to what you know about the oath that they took, whether you think it's perceived or imagined, whether it's real or fiction. Because what Spooner said is, whether the Constitution be one thing or another, this much is certain. It's either authorized such a tyrannical government as we have, and we know it didn't, or it's been powerless to resist it. In either case, it's unfit to exist. And upon that basis, I'm going to show you something, and you're going to have to make your own determination based on logic, based on truth, based on morality, and based on the oath of these frickin' oath breakers. And Republicans, I'm especially talking to you Q crowd, and you guys who back Trump, Trump 2020, no matter what, you need to open your minds and question your heart and find out, why the hell am I saying what I'm saying when he says what he says? How the hell can I back this? Because, see, I'm not so worried about tyrants. I'm not worried about the FDRs and the AOCs and the Jerry Nadlers and the Adam Schiffs and the Joseph Stalins of this world. I'm worried about the checked out, brain dead, Kool-Aid drinking lemmings who go, yes, master, that was so great. I think I'm going to applaud you because you have an R beside your name, or because you have a D beside your name, or you're part of the DNC or the RNC. It's bull crap, man. It's 100% bull crap. It's like going to a restaurant and you have two options: poop soup or turd sandwich. You're messed up if you take any one of those choices. And then somebody goes along and goes, I know the turd sandwich ain't so great, but it's way better than the poop soup. I suggest you try it. We kind of got boxed in this year, and we just kind of took the lesser of two evils. You would look at somebody taking the turd sandwich or the poop soup, and you think you are ridiculous. For you to think that those are the only two choices and that you can't just turn around and walk out of that restaurant, the sewage pit, and go make your own choices that are going to literally save your life and not have your system go septic, you got to be kidding me. That is tantamount to going, you only got two choices, Republican or Democrat. That's ridiculous. You have a third choice. How about, I don't want to be ruled? How about that? Okay, so based on that, here's what I'm infuriated about. Let me show you this. I'm going to adjust this real quick. I'm doing this way because yesterday there was such a It's such a crazy time getting a internet connection. So check this out. This is what Trump tweeted today, April 13th, 9:53 a.m. What does he say? For the purpose of creating conflict and confusion, some in the fake news media, and yes, it is fake news, guys. The Communist News Network is completely out to lunch. MSLSD, even faux news that Trump likes. It's all corporate media. They're there only to distract, deceive, and divide you. Let me just reiterate. They're there to distract, deceive, and divide you. Yes, it is 100% fake news. I agree with them. But don't use that as a smokescreen for the tyranny you're about to write in the rest of this tweet. And all you 106.9 thousand people who like this, and all you 27.7 or 27.2 thousand people who retweeted this, you need to pay attention and sniff the smelling salts of morality, not just reality. I'm going to read it over. For the purpose of creating conflict and confusion, some in the fake news media are saying that this is the governor's decision. It is the governor's decision to open up the states, not that of the president of the United States. And check this out, the federal government. Let it be fully understood that this is incorrect. I'm just going to read this follow-up tweet right here. Let me see if I can get it bigger. This is the tweet right after it. It is the decision of the president, and for many good reasons. BS. Somebody didn't read the Bill of Rights. Somebody doesn't give a damn about the Constitution, real Donald Trump. With that being said, the administration and I are working closely with the governors, and this will continue. A decision by me in conjunction with the governors and input from others will be made shortly. Let me just go back to the first tweet. For the purpose of creating conflict and confusion, some in the fake news media are saying that it is the governor's decision to open up the states, not that of the president of the United States and the federal, let's just read the federal bureaucracy, not that of the president of the United States and Washington's district of criminals. Let it be fully understood that this is incorrect. Oh, really? Really? Let me just ask you a question. What would you say, people who follow Donald Trump, if Barack Obama said that? If he said, some in the fake news media are saying that it's not the president of the United States and the federal government's decision to tell governors in their respective states what to do, you'd be like, 10th Amendment, a 10th Amendment violation, red flag in the field, 10th Amendment violation. Because that's exactly what it is. You know, of Hillary Clinton, Hillary Rodham Clinton, person who couldn't tell the truth to save her life, wouldn't know what liberty was if it hit her in the side of the head. You know what you'd say if Hillary Rodham Clinton said those exact words. You'd be, oh, the Wicked Witch of the East has just pushed the envelope, man. She is way over the edge. And you would be right. You would say Barack Obama, because he is the drone king, the Nobel Peace Prize winning drone king, mind you. If Barack Obama said that, you'd be like all over him. But because Donald Trump said it, you're okay with him violating the 10th freaking Amendment. And I'm just going to refresh your memory on what the 10th Amendment says and why the 10th Amendment is even there in the first place. And why, because the 10th Amendment is there, the guy who they set up a freaking shrine to in the Lincoln Memorial and bowed down to as though he were some kind of god or something, Lincoln was the biggest tyrant ever to walk the face of the planet in the shoes of the president of the United States. The Civil War was not about slavery as a major tenor of what that war was about. It was about states' rights. People are, it was not about states' rights. It was the war of northern aggression because people wanted to secede from the Union, and Lincoln was going, can't have that. We got to have the federal bureaucracy. We have to have the centralized power over all the states. Bull crap. If you get rid of states' rights, and by the way, it is gone. It is gone. States' rights is gone. You got the ATF, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Homeland Security, TSA, completely trampled. If you have TSA in your state, that's a violation of the 10th Amendment. If you have the FBI coming in, you know, when you have all these supposed school shootings and the FBI and the ATF move in, those are federalized powers. Those are federalized police forces. They have no right to be in the states. But because the states are beholden to the federal government because there's all this money being transferred and they're on the hook and they're obligated to have these people come in, there's nothing they can really say about it. So why do we even have a constitution? But we do have a constitution, and as long as I have breath in my lungs, I'm going to hold the feet to the fire indiscriminately against a Hillary Rodham Clinton, a George H.W. Bush, a George W. Bush, a Ronald Reagan, a Bill Clinton, a Barack Obama, and a frickin' Donald President Trump. I cannot believe it's got 107.3 thousand likes and 27.3 retweets. Oh, this is great. A Constitution trampler. And you never would have accepted that if Obama did it. Never. Let me just refresh your memory. I'm going to put it in text. Here's what the 10th Amendment says. Amendment number 10, the power is not delegated to the United States. That's not delegated to the federal bureaucracy by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it, by the Constitution, to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Why did I read that slow? Because I feel like there's a bunch of people out there specifically who follow Donald Trump that are, I don't know, maybe they're first graders. How do you confuse this? That's like one of the most, outside of shall not be infringed, or you have the right to be secure in your person's houses, papers, and effects, or you have the freedom of speech, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the Fourth Amendment, and the Fifth Amendment, you have the right to remain silent. Matter of fact, come to think of it, everything in the Bill of Rights is just simple. The powers not delegated to the United States, that's the federal bureaucracy, by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it, by the Constitution, to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people, not to President Donald Trump. Let it be fully understood that this is incorrect. Well, let it be fully understood that this says it is absolutely correct. It's not correct because mainstream media said it. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So mainstream media can get some things right. I hold you Trump followers to account. You're either for the Constitution or you're against it. Just draw the line in the sand and get it over with. Why was the Constitution written? First of all, let me articulate the powers that were prohibited to the states by the Constitution. It's a very short list. And I'm going to show you how mockable this is, but it's still in play. The power is absolutely prohibited to the states by the Constitution. I'm reading an Article 1, Section 10. Contained in Article 1, Section 10 is, and I quote, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation. Well, that doesn't fall into this. Nor grant letters of marque and reprisal. That doesn't fall into this. Nor coin money, nor emit bills of credit, nor, check this out, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender and payment of debts. Every state is in violation of their own constitution. Article 1, Section 10, no state can make anything but gold and silver, not fiat paper money, Federal Reserve. Silver coin, gold and silver coin, a tender and payment of debts, nor pass any bill of attainder, nor any ex post facto law, nor any law impairing the obligation of contracts, nor grant any title of nobility. That's not this. Concerning all which shall make some few observations hereafter. That's the only constraint on the states. Everything else, the states have the right to do, and the federal bureaucracy has no right to do. What was the purpose of the 10th Amendment? I was going to articulate it myself, but I found this, and this encapsulates perfectly what I wanted to convey to you and what the 10th Amendment conveys to you. I'm just going to read the very first two sentences, or two or three. The 10th Amendment has its roots in the intent. Okay, what's the intent of the 10th Amendment? Of each state to retain its full sovereignty and its right of self-determination. Sovereignty means apart from the federal bureaucracy. The 10th Amendment comes from Article 2 of our very first Constitution, the Articles of Confederation. Each state retains its quote, each state retains its sovereignty, freedom, and independence. You know, people who are conservative-minded are always talking about rule of law and always talking about the Constitution. But then when it comes to Donald Trump completely eradicating, trampling on, crumpling up, and throwing into the waste bin of history the very Constitution that you claim to hail, all of a sudden you're okay with it. Well, it's okay. Well, at least Hillary Clinton's not trampling on the Constitution. I'm okay if it's trampled by Donald Trump. Give me a break, man. This is called cognitive dissonance. You're trying to hold two conflicting ideas in your mind at the same time, and you can't do it without being a hypocrite. Each state retains its what? Sovereignty. It's what? It's freedom. And it's what? Independence. And every power, jurisdiction, and right which is not by this confederation expressly delegated to the United States in Congress assemble. It's sovereignty, it's freedom, and it's independence, and every power apart from the federal bureaucracy. Now back to Donald Trump. For the purpose of creating conflict, you've got to be kidding me. And then you're going to put this off on fake news when all you got to do is go to the 10th Amendment and find that fake news just so happens to be right on this? Yeah, it's fake news. No, I'm not for fake news, but I'm for the truth. And I don't care who, if the devil himself came out of hell and said the grass is green and the sky is blue, I would believe it because I can verify it and there's evidence for it. It's not true because the devil spoke it, and you're not on the devil's team because you believe what he said. You're just assenting to a known fact, evidence. And if an angel came to me and told me the grass is red and the sky is green, I would not believe him. But he's from heaven. You have to believe him. He's Donald Trump. You got to take what he says and like it and retweet it. Give me a freaking break, man. This is I love in a sense, I'm glad that this is all happening to America right now. Because it's really exposing a lot of evil. A lot of evil. It's exposing corruption. It's exposing hypocrisy. It's exposing inconsistency. It's exposing the true hatred for people have for the Constitution itself, specifically the Bill of Rights, because there is stuff in the Constitution that's completely immoral. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes. Really? I don't have that power to steal somebody's money or to force them, which would make it extortion. Do you have that power? No, you don't have that power and I don't have that power. Then how can we go to the voting booth and delegate a power that we don't have? Oh, that's right, we can't. You have to believe in fiction and Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and Zeus and the fair and the Tooth Fairy to believe that's true. Well, that's right. I can't delegate a power that I don't currently possess myself and could never possess unless I were a god. So Trump says he can trample the 10th Amendment, and he's saying that fake news is fake news and is creating conflict and confusion by just stating a truth that he does not have the power to go against states' rights. That's what the Civil War was fought over. Lincoln was a tyrant because he wanted to hold the Union together because he thought he was the monarch. No, they didn't call him a monarch. He thought he was the king. No, they didn't call him a king, but he thought he was the ruler over the entire land, and he wasn't. Some of the southern states wanted to secede. He said, screw that. We ain't going to do it. They had the little false flag incident at you-know-where, Fort Sumter. Look at it. He wrote to General E.V. Fox and forced a battle at Fort Sumter. That was his false flag that he needed to engage in the war. And that is the way government and tyrants and tyranny and despots always do it. They always create a false flag. They always create a problem so that the people can ask for a fear-based reaction. And then they foment war. And then they get people who normally wouldn't want war to sign on the dotted line to become a part of the military. And then 614,000 lives were lost because Tyrant Lincoln had his pride hurt and he didn't want states to secede. Literally, it shouldn't be called the Civil War. It should be called the War of Northern Aggression or the Law of the Secession of the States or the War of States' Rights. They were literally fighting and wanted to branch off according to the 10th Amendment, which is clear as a bell. You can't even get more clear than that. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. But I mean, the reason I start these videos with WTF is because it's like, what the frick? And it's more like not Trump, because he's a psychopath. He is a psychopath. He is as much of a psychopath. He with 15-second signature stole more American taxpayer money than it took Obama 4 years to waste on behalf of the Federal Reserve. Obama was and is a banker-bought puppet. Bush W was and is a banker-bought New World Order puppet. Bush HW was and is still, even in the state of being dead, a banker-bought globalist puppet, just as Clinton before him and Reagan before him and Ford and Carter and all those guys, Nixon. And Trump is no different. And in 15 seconds, he wrote off $6.2 trillion worth of transgenerational debt slavery, which empowered the bankers paid back the corporations who made the $19 trillion corporate debt bubble. Oh, by the way, there's more. Nancy Pelosi is pushing for trillions more in stimulus. Donald Trump is wanting millions more, trillions more printed for infrastructure. We got to help the American people. Here's your $1,200. Oh, by the way, here's $4.5 trillion for the corporations. Don't worry, buddies. There's more. How do you know? The Bible says, by their fruits you shall recognize them. By their fruits you shall know them. You're not a Christian in word, but in deed. You're not a patriot in word, but in deed. So if you see somebody acting like a despot, if you see somebody acting like a tyrant, if you see somebody acting like a banker-bought puppet, well, gosh, they must be a despot. They must be a tyrant. They must be a banker-bought puppet, because they sure look like they're working for the bankers and the corporations and not for the United States. It ain't make America great again. It's make Israel great again, make the Federal Reserve great again, make the IRS great again. Maybe it should be MAFA. Make the Fed great again. It's exactly what he did. And you're going to pay. Oh, man, you will pay for it. You get that $1,200, you're going to pay, man. That $1,200 is going to go like that when hyperinflation takes hold. And that dozen eggs is no longer $3 a carton. Now it's $12, $15. Why is it $17 for 12 eggs? I've never, what's happening here? You know what's happening. They're flooding Trump is facilitating the flooding of market with paper currency so they can crash the dollar, so they can bring in the one world government. But Trump's not a globalist. No siree. He's acting like a globalist. He's against the deep state. Yeah, he's acting like deep state, but that's only because he's playing 5D chess and he's way ahead of the deep state. You got to understand. You don't get it, Brian. I hear that all the time. If I hear that one more time, I think I'm going to puke. You just don't get it. He's playing 5D, triple decker, double backflip, underwater, walking on hot coals, chess. And you just don't get it because he's smarter than you. You just don't understand the plan. You're not trusting the plan. You're not turning your mind off, checking into the cult of personality, cementing yourself in the cognitive dissonance, and drinking the good old MAGA Kool-Aid, or you'd see it. You would just see it. You would see that he's not really trampling the 10th Amendment. I feel like, people are looking at me like, you have to trust MAGA. Hey, have you ever heard of Jim Jones and the People's Temple? By the way, next week we're taking a trip to Guyana. Want to come? I believe everything Jim Jones says. It's the same look you saw in the crowds of Obama. It's like they were literally worshiping the guy. Oh my God, hope and change. Oh my God, hope and change. Nobody's ever talked like this man. He's just a silver-tongued orator. We love him. We love him. Check out. Don't think. Just look at Obama. Oh, he's great. He could never do anything. Obama, Kuma.